try to follow American investing advice while living in Europe. That's like using Google Maps in the wrong country. You'll end up somewhere, just not where your money wants to go. So today we're clearing one of the biggest sources of confusion for European investors. And by the end, you'll finally know what actually applies to you. Here's what we're covering. Why you cannot open accounts like 401k or Roth IRAs from Europe. The European tax advantage accounts that actually exist. How copying US strategies can secretly cost you money, and the roadmap European women really need to invest correctly. I'm Francesca, ex-investment banker turned financial educator and founder of Centsational Women, the leading investing education brand for women in Europe. For years, I felt like I was doing money wrong because every book, every podcast, every guru talked about Roth IRAs and 401k, and I lived in Italy for part of my life, also in the UK, but none of it applied to me. I thought that was a problem when in reality, I was just following advice built for another continent. Every single month I get the same DM. Francesca, how do I open a Roth IRA from Italy? And I always have to say, you can't. It doesn't exist here. So here's the thing. All those acronyms you hear from US finance creators, 401k, Roth IRAs, HSA, they're part of the American tax system. That if you live in Europe, they don't apply to you at all. But, and here's the good news, every European country has its own version. In the UK, you can have the ISA, in France, the PEA, and so on and so forth. Other countries have their own versions with their own rules. So these accounts are like a fast lane for your investments because they let your money grow with tax advantages. Let me give you a real story. So Julia once told me she felt left out. She said, all the books talks about Roth IRAs. I thought without one, I'd never been able to invest properly. And I felt like I was missing the key to the castle. And when we show her instead how in her country a tax advantage account works, then she cried. Literally, she said, I didn't realize I had my own version of the castle key all along. And this is the problem with copying American advice. It makes women in Europe feel behind when in reality, we're just playing a different game. But here's the tricky part. Each country's rules are different. How much you can put in, who qualifies, which investments you're allowed to hold inside. It's not one size fits all. And this is exactly where most women give up. They know the account exists, but they don't know how to use them without making a mistake. And that's why inside Investing School, we don't just say use a tax advantage account. We walk through which one exists in your country, how to set it up, how to combine it with your ETF step by step, and so on and so forth, if you are part of our elite program. Because the truth is, knowing the rules is half the game. Applying them to your own life, that's where the wealth actually builds. And here's where the confusion gets even deeper, because American advice isn't just different. It can get expensive. So before continuing, pause for a second and hit subscribe. So here's the truth. US-based advice isn't bad. It works for Americans. But when you try to copy-paste it into your European reality, it starts costing you higher fees, higher taxes, more risk. One of my students, Elena, she told me that she lost almost 2,000 euros because she copied a TikTok top US ETFs. Only later did she realize those funds weren't even available in Europe. Her broker had given her random expensive substitutes. Another woman thought she was done with one ETF. She felt confident until she discovered that 80% of portfolio was just US tech stocks. She told me, it didn't feel like security anymore. It felt like a gamble. And then there is a hidden cost no one talks about, time lost. One of my students said, I spent the whole year in analysis paralysis. I didn't invest at all because I kept trying to translate US advice into European terms. I was terrified of messing up. I didn't know who to trust. That's the most expensive fee of all, the cost of waiting. Because while you're second guessing, compounding isn't waiting. So let's be clear, US advice isn't wrong. It's just not your roadmap. Here in Europe, we have our own. UCITS funds instead of US domiciles ETF. European friendly brokers instead of US only ones. Local tax advantage account, not Roth IRAs. Once you understand your rules, you're unstoppable. But here's the thing. Most women try to patch this together from random blogs, TikToks, or Reddit threads, and they end up either paralyzed or making costly mistakes. That's why I created Investing School, not to dump a bunch of theory on you, but to give you the step-by-step roadmap that actually works where you live. the one that saves you from wasted fees, wasted time, and wasted sleep. It's not that you're bad with money. You just weren't taught. And now you are. So open the notes app. Write this question. Which part of my investing strategy am I copying instead of understanding? Just noticing it is the first step. So if you're still thinking, I should understand this by now, my free workshop was literally made for you. It's where thousands of European women took their first confident step into deciding to learn how to invest without translating US advice ever again. Money doesn't have to be confusing, not when you're finally following the roadmap built for you. So make sure to subscribe, and as always, stay sensational.